Hi everyone. I watched Lost in London, which is a Nollywood film on Netflix. It was released in 2017, and I'm just going to go ahead and read you my film review and tell you about what I learned. So, our film was about two young men, Bona and Okan, who are from Nigeria. They're accepted into a university abroad program in London. They know each other in Nigeria, but they spend most of the movie apart, experiencing the trials of London alone. This film is all about cultural shock, facing the realities of expectation, and navigating life in a foreign place when you start with nothing. No connections, little money, and few skills that prove useful. Bona and Okan end up staying past the time allotted by their visas and struggle to make ends meet in London, until they eventually decide to return to Nigeria at the end of the film. Lost in London is basically a montage of the interactions that our characters, Bona and Okan, experience with the people of London. Bona, for one, expects all Nigerians that he comes across, including the lady who drove him in the taxi to his first apartment, to treat him like a real brother and to freely give him help and money. He expects so much from these people. It's like, oh, you're my brother, so pay for my bus fare, or let me stay with you, or get me a job. Similarly, Okan slowly realizes that London is not a place of magic where everyone is successful and happy. He becomes bitter towards London as he realizes that there are less helping hands than he anticipated at the beginning. After he gets mugged in an alley, and is tricked by a rather harmless man who offers him a place to stay in exchange for sexual attention. So really, Okan Okan appears thinking that London is such a magical place and that it's just going to be great. He's not going to have to pay for anything. He's going to be a successful man. And like I said, he has a lot of really, really bad interactions with people. He yells a lot and he just figures out that it's not as easy as it looks to come to a new location. While the whole 90 minutes is rather comical, I recognized many important themes in the film that we discussed in 385 together. So the film pokes fun at people who express their single story of Africa that we talked about. It's apparent in the way that the Londoners treat Bona on Okan. For example, Bona is told by his new girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, who is white, that Bona should return to the jungle with the rest of his monkeys. And Okan faces active discrimination from a white man who claims to not understand his pidgin and unnecessarily asks him to repeat himself multiple times. These scenes are both, you can just tell that the creators are making fun of the white people in it because Bona and Okan are getting along just fine, and it's really unnecessary. But anyway, Okan resorts to try speaking with a British accent, which only makes the matters worse for his conversation. Bona finds a really sweet and understanding British girlfriend, however, who acts as the polar opposite of the racist and naive Londoners who treat Bona and Okan so poorly. So she's kind of a light in the dark, and she sets an example of how we should be treating people who aren't from where we are. Though it is not set in America, Lost in London really reminded me of Americana and the identity struggle that arises when one finds himself in another culture, adopting the characteristics of the people around them, such as language, behavior, or, just daily routine. At one point, Bona is speaking on the phone with his brother, who is in Nigeria, when the brother literally cuts Bona off. And he says, you need to stop speaking in that accent. You need to talk um, like I do. And so Bona is taken aback. He's surprised. He didn't realize that he was talking with any accent at all. He's only been there for a couple months, and he quickly turns it off. Along with that, there are many instances of code switching in which Bona and Okan speak differently to achieve a goal. So I really see Lost in London as a comical refute of Heart of Darkness, and the misrepresentations of Africans. This film takes stereotypes of Africans laid out in Western literature and pokes fun at them, as I said earlier, almost as to say, how can anyone think this? I really enjoyed this film and making the connections that matter while watching it. I'd recommend it to anyone. The lighthearted humor is sure to entertain you, all while reinforcing the barriers around Nigerian literature that we broke down in 385. Thanks for listening.